a breakdown of my 5 most dominant off-meta formations in Madden 22. My number 5 is empty tray stack, based out of the Pittsburgh Steelers playbook, and this is going to be part of my empty Manning offense. This whole scheme is inspired by Peyton Manning's ability to get to the line of scrimmage, diagnose the defense, and put his offense into the perfect play call to attack the D. This is going to be a 5-out offense built around throwing the ball all over the yard, and will give you one of the most explosive deep passing games in all of Madden. We're going to be starting with the play fade out. And with it, we will be able to attack deep against cover 2 and cover 3. Against cover 2, have the stack to the wide side, then motion the back stack receiver in, and he will be on a streak. Then as we snap the ball, you'll see this outside wheel will get a free release up the field for a huge gain against cover 2. This can turn into a one-play bomb against cover 2, or it'll just be a huge gain down the field. Then on the backside of this play, we have this post that we can fire in if the user get pulled down by the hitch. Then if the hooks stay back, you can check it down to the hitch underneath. Now for fade out versus cover 3, we have that stack to the wide side, but now we want to motion the back player out, and we have the front player on a streak, and we will be able to get wide open up the seam for easy walk-in one-play touchdowns against cover 3. Now though this scheme has a great down the field pass game, but it is also built on an incredible quick game that gets the ball into the quarterback's hands into a playmaker and lets him make plays. And for this, we are going to look at the play bench corner. On this play, we have a flood concept to the wide side, then this unique C route and out route combo on the short side. We want to look to the stack first and read the flat defender. If he stays outside, then we can quick throw this ball up the shallow seam for a super quick hitter. This is going to be a super consistent 10 to 15 yards for you. Then if the flat defender jumps inside on the C route, we have this quick out route that you can fire in for another quick play along the sideline. Then you can also look to the wide side and once again read the flat defender. If he bites down on the whip, look to the deep corner in over his head for the big gain. Then if he stays back, fire in the whip underneath and rack up those quick yards with your player out in space. Then if you play empty, you are going to see a ton of man coverage, and in this formation we have maybe my favorite man beating play in all of Madden. And the play we are breaking down is curl switch. For this play, you want the wide side front of stack player on a corner route, and I always have route tech on him, and it will be always where I look to first. We want to throw it as he breaks out to the sideline, and you will see he gets incredible separation as he cuts. Then if they drop a flat defender under the corner route to the wide side, we have this Z post attacking the middle of the field, and if they have no safeties back, then we can bomb them over the top for a one-play touchdown. Then we're going to have multiple options over the middle, starting with this shallow drag from our tight end that does a great job underneath and is super tough for man coverage to take away. Then if nothing else is open, we have this deep dig that gets amazing separation, and we will make them pay over the middle of the field. Now if you want a complete breakdown of this offense that includes these plays and an absolute ton more, I'll link the playlist to the full scheme down in the description below. Then for the number 4 off-meta formation, we have doubles north in the West Coast playbook. This scheme is all based around the 1980s 49ers that dominated with a precision passing attack and completely changed the way football was played forever. They were led by the genius himself, Bill Walsh, then with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Joe Montana, growing to maybe the greatest player of all time in Jerry Rice. Now this whole offense was built on an insanely precise drop back pass game that relied on perfect timing between the receivers and QB, ensuring they would be in the exact right place at all times. And the first play we're looking at here is bench switch. On this play, we're going to motion to a trips look, and then we will have this post and drag attacking over the middle. We want to read the hooks, and if they bite down on the drag, you can fire in the post over the middle. But you can also hold the ball for a little bit longer and wait for this post to get in behind the flat defender on the short side of the field, and you can hit him deep along the sideline. Then if we look to the wide side, we have a curl flat combo. So read the flat defender, and if he comes down to the running back, you just want to throw the curl route, and then if he stays back on the curl, you just want to check it down to the running back underneath and pick up whatever yards they give you. The next play we're looking at is X option and doubles north. On this play, we want to look to the deep post first, and he gets to such a tough area of the field that really forces the user to cover it, or we'll get huge gains. And we are having these 2 hooks underneath, really trying to pull the user and the hooks down to keep them off the post, allowing us to hit it deep. Then if the user or hooks stay back, we want to read the short side flat defender, and if he bites down on the running back, we have this unique tight end hook that you can throw in for a nice gain. Then if the user stays deep, you can throw the running back in the flat and get those rack yards. Now, even though the 49ers love to pass the ball, they still wanted to have an explosive run game to keep the defense offense honest. And for this, we are going to look at this HB pitch play. On this play, we motion the solo receiver over to give us a bunch look, and now we can toss it in behind our bunch and we can get some insanely explosive yards. Then working off the pitch, we have the play curl drag. On this play, we're going to have the same motion over to create this bunch look, and this is my go-to play to beat cover 2. This deep corner will get in behind the flat defender, and this streak will hold the deep blue defender inside, and you can get in deep behind them for huge gains down the field versus cover 2. Then if you look underneath, we have multiple hooks that are going to help hold the zone defenders down. And we want to throw the deeper one if the user leaves the middle of the field to try to take the corner route. Then if you see everyone dropping back at the snap, you can just throw it to the shallow hook underneath and let him pick up some rack yards. Now if you want a complete breakdown of this offense that includes these plays and an absolute ton more, I'll link the playlist to the full scheme down in the description below. Then my number 3 off meta formation is doubles offset weak in the spread playbook. Now this spread offense is based around Chip Kelly's time at Oregon when he took over college football and made one of the most iconic offenses of all time. They relied on incredible speed all over the field and using the QB in the run game to give them a numbers advantage and make their offense almost impossible to stop. Now the go-to play during Chip Kelly's time at Oregon was the read option with his QB and then a bubble to the outside with the slot receiver. So for this play, we are going to look at RPO read bubble. Now this formation has an insanely unique tight end motion that puts him in this H-back spot. First, we want to read the outside edge player, and if he bites down, we want to keep it with our QB and get to the outside into open space and get some big gains. Then if the edge defender stays on the QB, we can hand it off to the running back on the inside, and now we have an extra blocker because the D end is unblocked, and we can pick up some really nice yardage up the middle. But then what really sets this play apart is we can check the nickel out over our slot, and if he bites down on the run, or if they have no one out there at the snap, then you can just fire it out to the bubble screen, get it into a playmaker's hands, and let him rack up some huge yards. This formation also has pass plays that do a great job of attacking all over the field and make it super difficult for the D to take everything away. First, we're going to look at the play sail, and this is going to be our zone beating setup. Now we want that same motion over with our tight end, then we have a flood concept on the wide side, and we just want to read the flat defender, and if he stays back, you can just throw the running back on this super unique flat route underneath. And if the flat defender bites down, we just want to throw this corner route in over his head for some nice gains deeper along the sideline. Then if the user leaves the middle to take the corner route, we have this dig coming in behind him, attacking the middle of the field, forcing the user to stay home, or we will pick him apart. And if everything else is taken away, we have this late whip going the opposite way from our tight end that we can check down to underneath for some really good yards. Then this formation has one of my favorite deep passing plays in all of Madden 22. It is incredible for getting deep down the field, and it can even get behind super deep flat defenders on the outside. And the play we're looking at is PA bubble Y over. Now we're going to have the same motion over with the tight end, and we're going to see it turns into this insanely deep corner route. We want to drop back, and if we have time in the pocket, then we can basically throw this against any zone. Then if you don't have time for that, or the user is taking it away, we have this slant going the other way, and then if the hooks and flats bite down on the running back, you can throw this slant in behind them. Then if they stay back, then we have this running back in the flat that you can throw it to and get rack yards with a playmaker in space. Now if you want to unlock even more for these offenses and take them to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. I have hours more of breakdowns for each one of these schemes that will help you run the best off-meta schemes in all of Madden. Now each scheme has its own page dedicated to it on the website to make everything easy to find, and then every one of the offenses has an in-game play call sheet that you can download that allows you to stay organized in game and keep track of all your plays. Now if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Now my number 2 off-meta formation is Pistol Strong in the Ravens playbook. Now this scheme is based off of how the Baltimore Ravens use Lamar Jackson as an offensive weapon and have the whole scheme designed around his ability to make plays with his legs in the open field. Then when the defense tries to take that away, the Ravens have a ton of deep shots down the field. The backbone of this scheme is getting into the open field with your QB and allowing him to make plays, and this triple option slip play is the perfect way to do it. Now the first part of this play works like a normal read option where you read that edge defender, and if he plays the QB, you just give it to your running back up the middle and let him rack up big yards getting downhill. Then if the DN crashes down, we can keep it to the outside with our QB, and this is where it gets fun. If you have room, just keep the ball and get into the open field and make make them pay with your athletic QB in space. But if the D gets sucked into the QB, we can flip it out to your running back and get it into his hands on the edge. This play is an absolute blast, and once you get it down, it is some of the most fun you will have in Madden. Then to work off of the triple option, we need to make the D pay. This is my favorite deep passing play in all of Madden 22, and with it we can bomb cover 3, cover 2, and man coverage. And it is a play PAHB corner slip. Now you always want your tight end to the short side of the field. Now against cover 3, you will see the shallow corner gets pulled down by the slant and the out route from the tight end. Then the middle safety lets the post clear his face, and you can bomb them over the top for an easy walk-in touchdown against cover 3. Then against cover 2, the short side safety gets pulled down by the tight end, and the slant pulls out the wide side safety, and you can split them for a wide open touchdown that gets in behind cover 2. Then against man coverage, if they have no deep safeties, this same route will get open deep, and it will force them to keep safeties back, or you can just bomb them over the top again. We also have this out route from the tight end that gets open for really nice gains, and I like to put my running back on an out route, and he also gets great separation against man coverage. Now in this Raven scheme, we are going to have a ton of just downhill running plays as well, so we need to have a classic play action shot in this formation to make them pay if they come downhill with their user. And this is where we go to PA boot LT. On this play, we're going to run our play action and boot out the other way, and we can just look to the flats, and if it's open, fire it into the running back underneath for the easy yards. Then if the flat defender bites down, then we have this tight end coming in behind him for a nice gain deeper down the field. But we can also hold onto the ball and wait for this deep post to develop down the field. This is going to get in behind the hook defenders but stay in front of the deep blue defenders, and you can fire it in for a huge gain. This works really great as long as the user stays shallow, and you can really pick up consistent yards down the field. Now if you want a complete breakdown of this offense that includes these plays and an absolute ton more, I'll link the playlist to the full scheme down in the description below. Then my number one off meta formation in all of Madden 22 is Bunch X Nasty in the LA Rams playbook. Now this scheme is built around the wide zone offense that Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay have made insanely successful in the NFL right now. It relies on a strong run game and then a nasty play action game off of it to put defenses in a no-win situation. So to run this scheme, you must be able to run the ball and make people respect that part of your game, and for this we are going to start with wide zone weak. Now you can run this play to the wide or short side of the field, and then here it is all about reading your block and staying patient and taking the yards that are there. Then the backbone of this whole offense is the play action pass game off of our run, and we are starting with the play PA boot. Now we want to motion our solo receiver out, then we are going to run our play action, and then we want to look to the flat defender, and if he stays shallow at all, then we can fire this deep corner route in over his head for some really nice gains down the field. Then if the flat defender stays back, then we want to hit the tight end in the flat. We can just pick up the easy yards underneath. Then after the play action, if the user leaves the middle to try to take away the corner route on the outside, we have this deep cross coming in behind him for a really nice gain over the middle of the field. And for our next play action play, we have PA drag wheel. On this play, we want to motion our receiver over and make a stack look to the short side. Then we want to run our play action, and we'll see the receiver that was left on the bunch side is going to run across the field and then wheel up. This route will get in behind flat defenders. They will not turn and run with him, and this is one of the best routes in the game to get deep down the field for huge gains against zone coverage. Then if the user runs with the wheel, we have this deep cross going the other way that still gets in behind flat defenders for big gains along the sideline. Now even though this formation relies on a ton of play action, we still need to have a great drop back pass game, and this is one of my favorite passing plays in the entire game, and it is going to be verticals in Bunch X Nasty. Now we want to take the outside bunch player and motion him out, and then we will have the running back on a wheel out of the backfield, and the flat defender will either stay back or he will get pulled to the outside, and we can fire the running back up the shallow seam, and we're just going to get it into one of our best players' hands with a ton of room in the open field. Then if the user jumps down to the running back or we see the deeper seam is open, this is when we can fire it into the tight end. This is going to get to a really tough area of the field for a nice gain. Then if the user jumps to the wheels and takes them away, we are going to have this deep cross from our receiver going to the opposite side of the field that gets in deep behind flat defenders for huge gains along the sideline. Now if you want a complete breakdown of this offense that includes these plays and an absolute ton more, I'll link the playlist to the full scheme down in the description below. Now using one of these off meta formations is going to give you a ton of options on offense. offense. But none of that is going to matter if you can't get stops on defense. So if you want to learn how to run the best blitzing scheme in all of Madden 22, you need to watch this video right here.